Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to many of you tonight. For me and for my interviewer, it's a great night. I have the honor to introduce and be able to connect with somebody who has wear the red, white, and blue for 3 Paralympics and is about to do it for a fourth. We're going to talk Paralympics tonight on Jose Views. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about not just what it means to be an athlete, what it means to train to achieve a dream. We're going to talk about perseverance. We're going to talk about what it is to really overcome any challenge and to live life, through a lot of self-determination and self-empowerment. We're going to talk about somebody who's really overcome challenges in life through sports, and that's what the Paralympics in many ways means. That's what the Paralympics kind of stand for. We're going to talk to a Paralympian who's played the game of goalball for many, many years. He has many accomplishments, but more than that, off the court, those accomplishments carry on even more. As we know, sports carry on more than just an athlete. They carry on a culture. They carry on a social society. They carry on the spirit of a country, and most importantly, even worldwide, the Olympic spirit. That's what the Paralympics is really, when it comes down to what it is about. Tonight, I bring to you one of the best athletes I've ever seen, and also one of the best men I've ever met, Tyler Merren. Tyler, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. This is Jose Views, brother. First of all, how are you feeling in the road to Tokyo, and what's your mind set for what's coming in 2021?
Jose, man, glad to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me on the show with you. Tokyo, man, it's been a wild ride. It's the Tokyo 2020 games, right? It's still being labeled as the 2020 games. It's very, very unusual what's happening with those games because of the pandemic, right? And I mean, the pandemic has thrown all of us for a loop, including the Olympians and Paralympians. So Tokyo 2020 will still be held in the summer of 2021. So I'm currently training for those games with my team at a residency program. I'm feeling really, really good about it. I've been asked multiple times, was it a problem? Like, how did I feel about the games being postponed? And certainly as an athlete who's competitive, I want to get to it, right? I want to jump in. I want to be there and play. But I took that time. Our team took that time, that extra time that we were given, and we're stronger for it. Our athletes are bigger, faster, stronger. We're closer together as a team, and so we're feeling pretty good heading into the games, which are only 5.5 months away, 6 months away. So not too much longer.
When people now are getting to know you, by the way, there's people in Spanish saying, "I don't understand, but I support you 100%." There's another person saying, "Thumbs up." This is what it's about. There's another person saying hi and saludos in Spanish. There's people watching us on Facebook. Come to YouTube, subscribe and like, because we're about to refer you also to Tyler's YouTube page. We're trying to grow his channel too, so people are more connected to him in his Olympic chase of a gold medal. And the first thing people run across Tyler as we go back to get to know you and then get to know the sport, that you particularly are doing in the Olympics, which is goalball. Most people, I'm going to share screens and show your Team USA Olympic page. I mean, your Team USA page. Most people get to know their athletes there. But for example, I'm about to share this. It shows that it's a modest 6 feet. Now, tell us first of all, where were you born? How do you become a Paralympian? And how do you get to the first Paralympic? Because you're about to be a four-time Paralympian, which is amazing. But how do you get your step on the door into the Paralympics?
Yeah, for sure. Muchas gracias a mi amigas quien hablar en español. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I try. I can speak a little Spanish. I'll try my best throughout. I super appreciate you guys. So I I was born in Michigan. I grew up in Southwest Michigan, a real like small rural farm country area. So I grew up on a farm, and I had some challenges when I was younger. I was born with retinitis pigmentosa, which essentially means like my vision was pretty limited. I had enough that I could see like regular print and things like that, but what I had was tunnel vision. So I didn't have any peripheral. I couldn't see off to the side. I had night blindness. So like as soon as it started to get kind of dusk or a little bit darker, like my vision would go away really quickly. And so this presented a lot of challenges for me when I was a kid. So tracking a ball, for example, was really difficult. And you would think that this would kind of make me not like to do sports, but actually, on the contrary, I grew up in a family of athletes. My dad was a football player, a baseball player. He golfs to this day. My sister played all seasons of sports. And so I grew up being really active. We were always climbing trees and digging holes and just doing stuff that kids do on the farm, right? And as I got older and my vision got worse, I never really lost that passion, that love for being active. And when I was about 14, 15 years old, I got introduced to the sport of goalball. It was just at a local camp. There's a camp that these professors would run at Western Michigan University to teach visually impaired kids how to adapt different sports. So like, at this camp we did like track and field, we did judo, we did tandem cycling and swimming. Well, goalball was one of the sports that they taught, and I took to it really quickly. I really enjoyed it. Actually, the first game I ever played, they kind of, took me out on the court. They said, okay, so here's the ball, here are the lines, here's the goal, here's what you want to do. You want to lay down here and block the ball. And then when you do, you can get up and throw it back at the other team, try to score a goal. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I can do that. That doesn't sound too bad. Well, I got done with my first game, and the coach of the team, the youth team at the time, came over to me and said, hey, is this the first time you've ever played? I said, yeah, they just showed me how to do it. This is the first time I played. And he said, well, we go to a tournament in South Florida every year. We go to, North Florida. We go to St. Augustine for the junior national championships. I want you to be on the team. And I was like blown away by this, right? Like I'd never left Michigan, let alone gone all the way to Florida to play ball. So that was kind of the start of it. And from there, I enjoyed it so much. I started playing. I got picked up by an adult club team. I started traveling around with them a little bit. It started getting scouted by USA coaches. And I just loved it so much and started working out more and training for it. So actually, only 2 years after the very first time I played, I made the USA team. I played my first international tournament 2 years after I started playing goalball. And from there, just kept progressing, kept wanting to be better. And that led me into my career. I studied exercise science. I got my bachelor's degree in exercise science from Western Michigan University. Went on to be a personal trainer, a strength and conditioning coach, and just studied how to be the best athlete that I could be. And that took me into my career, which, at this point, I've traveled to 15 different countries competing. I've been to 4 world championships, 3 Paralympics, soon to be 4. I've been MVP, junior national MVP, and national MVP. Top scorer for my country. I was the 4th highest scorer at the World Championships in 2014. Won a silver medal in Rio in 2016. So I've been around, done a few things, and managed to have some fun while trying to beat somebody up with a goal ball.
Now let's tell people what gobo is. And some of the people, I mean, like I see Skippy on here, I see all the friends, but people like Kudeche, there's some Cubans here who and then some folks that I'm going to be able to know a little bit of English inside of Cuba. They're going to say, wait, what? We thought America was a place where people blind people really couldn't they didn't have everything is paid for. Do you have to pay to be able to go to 15 countries and represent your country? Like you went to college. How is all this possible? Like, can you talk a little bit about like the opportunities your country, the USA, has given you to be able to get to where you're at, be able to go chase your dreams, and your career, and then also then let's talk about what's goalball so people kind of know.
Absolutely. And you know, I am so thankful. I count my blessings every day to know that I live in such a great country, and it's not a perfect country, right? There is a lot of problems that we have, but there's so many opportunities that I've been given. So, in a lot of places in the world, when you're blind or visually impaired, you don't have those chances. You're pushed to the back of the room. You're told to sit down. You're not allowed to do things. But here in the U.S., I was given so many opportunities. So, first of all, I was taught how to do adaptive sports, right? This camp, which was selflessly held by these professors, Dr. Paul and Dr. Supanchila, they did this camp for years and years and years. And because of what they did, I learned about goalball. I was able to travel around. At first, my parents helped me pay for travel within the states. But once I made the USA team, has a budget, and they help us travel to countries to compete. I never would have been able to go to all these places on my own without that support. When I decided I wanted to be the best athlete I could be and teach others how to do that, and so I wanted to get my degree in exercise science, the state of Michigan paid for my education to be able to go to Western Michigan University to take all those classes to learn anatomy and physiology, exercise physiology, biomechanics, and all of the things that I was really passionate about. So absolutely, man, I am so blessed to be here where I am. I've put in a lot of work. I've really, I've done a lot, and I've toiled really hard, but I've also been given those opportunities, and that's something I'm thankful for every day. And when it comes to goalball,
and we're getting messages from Coach Carl Dixon down here from Florida saying loving to listen to you guys. There's a message from Copper Rodriguez. Congratulations, go USA. Just a lot of messages right now from Facebook and YouTube. I just posted your revision site website, and we're going to talk about your career in that sense. There, let's talk about a little bit about what goalball is for those that don't know about goalball, and what it is, and what we will going to be what they're going to be seeing when they start following you.
Yeah, man. So goalball, and I mean, I'm a little biased, Jose. It's cool, but I'm a little biased. Goalball, I think, is the best sport that was ever invented. So just putting it out there. Like, I'm a little biased, right? But it really is a cool sport. So the game has been around for a long time. It's actually this year is the 75th anniversary of goalball. So it's been around for quite a while. It was invented in Germany after World War II to give blinded war veterans a form of recreation. Because I promise you that being visually impaired doesn't mean you're any less of fill in the blank, right? Being visually impaired doesn't mean you're any less of a man or a woman. Being visually impaired doesn't mean you're any less of an athlete or a father or a husband. It just means that the way that you do things might be a little bit different, right? So you got these soldiers who are coming back from war, and they've been injured, they've been blinded in war, and these guys recognize, like, hey, we need to create a sport that they can still do, because they're still competitive, they want to win, they want to be athletes. So they invented the sport of goalball, and it kind of grew and developed into this big international sport, and it's played all over the world now by visually impaired athletes. And essentially, you can kind of say it's like a mix of like handball, soccer, and volleyball. There's kind of a mix of all of those elements. It's played indoors. and it's played on a volleyball-sized court, so it's 9 by 18 meters. And at each end of the court, there's a long net that's a full 9 meters wide and 1.5 meters high. And each game is 3 players versus 3 players. Okay, and the 3 players for each team will position. Would, but there's 3. All 3 of them are goalkeepers at the same time. You're all working together to protect your net. And then the ball, which is about the size of a basketball, but it's a little heavier. It weighs 1.25 kilograms, so it's a little over close to 3 pounds. And it has bells inside. So that's really the cool thing about goalball is, like, you know, when I was like 3-4 years old, I could see pretty well. When I was 14, 15 years old, I started losing a lot more vision. Now that I'm in my mid-30s, I have like almost no vision. But goalball, it doesn't matter. Everybody wears a blindfold when they play, and it's all based off of sound and touch and communication with your team. It's based off of your athleticism. It's not based off your vision. So no matter how bad my vision got, I could play goalball. And so that was one of the things that I really, really loved about it. And so you take the ball, you throw it underhand, so across the floor as hard as you can. So, in the upper men's division levels, you're talking 30, 35, 40 miles an hour back and forth. And you try to get it past the defenders into their goal, and they try to block
a picture
it
right now, Tyler, of you blocking between you and Cusco, trying to the last Olympics blocking a ball.
There you go.
So I just wanted to describe that to people.
Yeah. So you're down in a crouch ready position. The other team is going to throw the ball at you, and you're listening for the bells inside the ball, or you're listening for like the skid of the ball across the floor. And then you lay out, you dive out, and you put yourself in front of the ball again, just like a goalkeeper would. You're blocking the net with your body, with your chest, your legs, your feet, your hands, whatever you can put in front of it. And then once you collect it, you're going to throw it back at the other team. It's a pretty fast game. There's only a 10-second shot clock, so you gotta boom, 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 get up and go quick. So it's very high pace. It's down. It's diving out for the ball, standing up, backpedaling, sprint forward, throw, backpedal. It's very, very athletic. It's very intense when you get into these games.
How compared to Olympic level sports? How's the training? What's the difference between training for goalball and training for basketball? Or what's the difference between a Paralympic athlete training in the USA level than training than any other athlete training for any other sports now, with spring training starting for baseball players, things like that? Is it professional at that level? Before you, last week we had an Olympian who was saying, for example, the difference he saw between the Cuban program and the US program was that the Cuban program, they lacked all the resources, but they trained all year together. So they liked each other or hated each other. They had to be in there for 12 months a year, almost every day of the year, doing the same training. So how does that look for you, and what's the difference?
So I think a lot of the difference that you'll see for us, and a lot of these the gaps are starting to shrink down now because of a lot of the movements of disability awareness and things like that. So some of the differences may still be seen in resources, but it's not much. So where we are right now. So I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is where our residency program is with the Turnstone Center, which is a Paralympic training center. We have a full-time court designated just for our group, for the men's and women's USA team. We have all the goal balls that we need. We have our own weight room. We have squat racks, dumbbells, benches, pull-up bars. We have battle ropes. We've got slide boards. We've got bands. We've got recovery equipment, Normatex and game readies, all of the things that we need. And this is slightly on the new side. So, the last 4 or 5 years is when we've had this. I've been on the team for a really long time. Like I said, I started in 2001 with the USA team. We didn't have all this back then. And so it was a little bit more challenging to say, like, oh yeah, we train just like the Olympians do. But the gap is so much closer now. I train 5 days a week, period end, sometimes more. Every training session we go through is about 2 hours long. If we're actually on the court training as opposed to lifting weights, it's usually more like 3 hours. It's a part-time job, really, like, and it's crazy demanding. Paralympians and Olympians are partners in this, and you're seeing more and more now Paralympians bring coming up to that level of intensity, focus, work ethic, all of that happening. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Awesome. Um, so not just not just Olympians, but Paralympians around the world have, unless they are star, they are a star, and they are a gold medal, like they have potential of winning a gold medal. They're not really taken care of. They're kind of second. They're just kind of like any other citizen. They don't get any type of treatment, any type of special treatment. How's that in the U.S. program? How do you define how the U.S. System treats their athletes? Do they support you along the way? That kind of thing, or is it more like the rest of the world, where unless you're heavily favored to win a medal, you get the attention, you get support, and if not, you're kind of on your own? How do you see that part of the support level from the country?
I would say it's a little bit of a mixed bag of both, because in the U.S. it's the same as the rest of the world in the sense that Olympians and Paralympians are not considered professional athletes. And the only thing that qualifies that is saying, like, I don't get paid big bucks to play goalball, right? But having said that, that doesn't negate or make any less effective or important the amount of effort and energy and work that I put into it. So all those resources that I mentioned, where I have a full training facility, I say I, but I'm, us, our team, we have a full training facility. We have a nutrition specialist. We have a strength and conditioning specialist. We have a team psychologist. We get a budget that helps pay for our travel going around the world and stuff like that. So we are very, very well taken care of as athletes. And yet at the same time, myself as an athlete, it doesn't pay my bills, right? So I, as a husband and father, I'm also a business owner. I work on the side. And that's a lot of athletes that are in the Olympics or Paralympics. A lot of these folks are 9-to-5 people who have families, who work their regular jobs, but they have this passion, right, for the sport. They want to represent their country. They want to wave that flag. They want to do the best they can in that sport. And, they get some sponsorships or resources, but a lot of times, they're putting their own food on the table and then going out and doing their training. And that's how the spirit of the games works.
Okay, so just to let everybody know, I just shared Tyler's YouTube page, Revision Training. Please go and subscribe. Please go and check it out. You will love it. And we're going to give you a little taste, just in a little second, of what his site is about. And it's about that entrepreneurship that Tyler does. He has his own business. Tyler, honestly, like I said, what he represents in the sport, he represents outside the sport too, which is a lot of, like you will say on this picture about this show. You say that there's no such thing as there's not such a thing as limits. There's only challenges, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that phrase from you. And I put it here on screen. And that's you promoting your business. But you're a motivational speaker. Well, I imagine, and you go all over the place to do motivational speaking, because besides the fact that you're very well spoken, you also have a lot to say and a lot to motivate people to do. And then also, you have your own training. So I put the picture of those quotes that you live by, I think, or that you at least expressed to us, that kind of motivate us. When I saw that, I was kind of like, I kind of took a time to think about that. I was like, I'm like, those words are exactly pretty amazing. Is that those words motivate me? You know what I mean?
And that is right. Absolutely. And that's and you know what, you spoke to it. You spoke to exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, so my business, when you guys check out my YouTube channel, the fitness program that I'm putting together, some of my motivational speeches, I'm trying to put food on the table for my family. Absolutely. That's part of it. But a big part of it is paying it forward. Like, I have been super blessed with these opportunities with fitness, with traveling and sport and competition and being able to represent my country. And a big part of my business is trying to give others that same opportunity, showing them things that I have learned about finding the champion within yourself, showing them things that I have learned about fitness and exercise, showing them things that I've been able to do, and hopefully giving others the same opportunities that I've had.
Let's you know what? Let's share a little second of your training program, or a little intro video that you have. I think people are going to love it. I think people are going to go right away. The more than 10 or 11 on YouTube and more than 5 on Facebook. Plus, everybody else is going to watch this as we go along. Let's share real quick. Let me share page real quick and show people what we're talking about. Because I think once they see the product and your service with this thing you do, and for any visually impaired, a blind person who wants to work out, please check the site. I think it's super legit. I think it'll definitely get you in the road to being fit and most importantly being healthy. So let me share audio so you see what we're talking about. And for anybody, I think what I like about your training, Tyler, is that anybody can really benefit from it, and people don't expect to get the quality of product really that you're selling because they don't expect to see this kind of training when we talk about it.
Yeah.
So let me go here real quick. I'm going to your YouTube channel, and let's hear this slow piece. We're going to get about 15 seconds.
Revision Fitness.
Let's change the way we look at it. Welcome in, my fellow fitness enthusiasts, to today's workout video coming to you from Revision Training LLC. My name is Tyler Merren. I'm owner of Revision Training LLC. I'm a 3-time Paralympic athlete, motivational speaker, personal trainer, and just like you guys, an overall fitness enthusiast. Today, we are jumping into a quick Tabata workout. I think you guys are really going to like this, so stay with me. This is a workout appropriate for any fitness level, any equipment that you might have. So whether you're just a beginner, whether you're looking at getting a good, quick burn in, you're an elite athlete looking to get faster, no worries. Stay with me on this one. This will be a great workout for you. Now, today, I'm choosing to use a jump rope. So I'm going to be doing a Tabata set. We've got a 16-round Tabata set workout today.
Now, Tyler, I'm going to stop right there. You do all types of levels from the most fit person to the less fit. Am I right? And so really anybody can benefit from your trainings?
I do. And a lot of times in the videos, I talk about just modifying the exercises. Honestly, and that's the biggest trick. So when we talk about the format can be what it is, but within that, exercise is all about modification. Whether you're trying to modify an exercise to make it a little tougher because you're in better shape, or you're modifying it to make it easier because you're a little bit more of a beginner, exercise is all about modification. And I preach that over and over again through my videos. I give examples of that, different ways you can modify exercises to make them easier or harder.
And so I just put the link. It's in the last comment on the YouTube on YouTube, and I think it just showed up on Facebook, but it's for sure on YouTube. And plus in the description below, you find his Facebook page, his YouTube page. Definitely go and subscribe to YouTube page. I highly recommend the channel. I need it whenever I need to get all my routine going of what I'm going to do for 2-3 months to get in shape and to get even into the sport of goalball that I try to play too, and try to imitate this guy next to me. This is what I train. This is the training I use. It's really effective and it's really useful. Let's go through some comments here, so people kind of don't feel left out. Coach Jacobson again, Carl Jackson saying simply beautiful and brutal, talking about goalball. From other comments, we have Iskra. Iskra was saying wonderful interview. Love this. Love this. It was perseverance. I'm guessing she's saying it's what perseverance means. We got Coach Jacobs. Okay, we got Alejandro with a bunch of signs. I'm seeing a lot of happy signs. So that means that's the whole page full of signs of little emojis and stuff. Go Florida, Skippy saying go Florida. So that's pretty cool too.
Shout out Skippy.
A lot of friends. So let's talk about a little bit. That's how I got the privilege to play with you at the club level with Team Florida when you moved down to South Florida. how was how was South Florida? Do you ever train any Cubans from or any people, Hispanic people? How did that go?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I did. And it was a privilege to do so. So, like I said, I grew up in Michigan, went to Western Michigan University, got my bachelor's degree in exercise science there. So, spent a number of years there. I got married while I was in Michigan. And once I graduated, my wife was pretty much like, well, I'm going to go somewhere warmer. If you want to go with me, that's cool. And I was like, yeah, I think I'll do that. No, so we had this plan, like even when I got into college, like, you know, I love the Midwest. It's a beautiful place. The summers are gorgeous. The people are wonderful, but the winters can be a little rough. So we had this plan for a long time, like, hey, let's go somewhere south. Let's go somewhere warm. And we kind of looking at like Texas or Arizona or Florida. And every one of those places, I was like, you know what? I should learn to speak Spanish, right? Because that's probably going to help us along the way. So actually, I got my bachelor's in exercise science, but I minored in Spanish. So when I moved to Florida, yeah, Jose, man, I became a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. I worked there as one of the master trainers for about 6 years. I was an assistant fitness manager with them as well. And I had a lot of clients who spoke Spanish only. And it was a little challenging for me, not being a native speaker. But honestly, I got pretty good at it. There was one time I was speaking with one of my clients while I was having her do some exercises. I was talking to her in Spanish, and I had this guy come up to me and ¿A dónde eres? ¿Qué país? And I was like, oh no, man, I'm gringo, brother. Like I'm from the Midwest, like, but my Spanish was good enough.
You should have said, que hola, Havana,
Yeah. Viva Havana. Yeah, like, no, man, I was like, no, dude. My heritage, like, I'm mostly Irish, but for some reason, I get a pretty good complexion going when I'm out in the sun a lot, so I kind of look a little bit Hispanic too. But it was just kind of funny. But I loved it, man. So the mix of culture in South Florida was very, very cool. We really enjoyed our time there. Back in the Midwest now, training for the Tokyo Games, and from here, we're gonna see what happens. I think we're gonna go further south again, but we'll see where we land next time around.
Yeah, I'm about to go to the gallery of pictures I have here with you, but I want to take advantage of this little point when you're talking about South Florida and the Spanish connection to ask you, because a lot of times I don't know if you know, but in this channel, in the Spanish side, that's why you probably don't know, because we're speaking Spanish and stuff, and we talk a lot about how to help people down in Cuba, fight for their freedom and find find ways to empower them to fight for liberty and things like that. But one of the things we talked about is how the lack of opportunities and all those things. And my question is, over there, I never seen you gone to the Paralympics. I'm sure that in Pan Am's, Pan American Games, you've maybe being able to see or meet any Cuban athletes. I know that other athletes have told me that they talk to the Cuban delegation, and most of the time they have to they decide to give them something as a gift. Yes, so they have like a lot of times people don't have like good quality sports shoes, things like that. Have you ever had experience with any Cuban person from the Paralympic delegation team? Have you seen? I don't think Cuba has a global team, but what do you think that maybe because in this channel we're going to try to do some work to promote the sport in Cuba and to align ourselves with the blind community there to try to empower them. So what do you think?
So I think that the mission is sound, right? Cuba doesn't have a strong goalball team as far as I know, because I've not competed against them. They may have one that it's not, I haven't come across them in any of the domestic, like North South America competitions, but it's such a powerful mission, and really that's what the Paralympics is all about, right? Like I have nothing but admiration for those athletes who are in Cuba and they want to compete, they want to represent their country or themselves or their family, and they don't have those same resources, but the passion is the same, right? Their level of desire to win and be the best they can be is the exact same as mine, right? We're in different situations, but that passion stays the same. And
Let
that's
me
what the
ask you.
Paralympics.
Let me ask you because the cool thing is in this channel we don't have a lot of like gringos in the in the house. So let me ask you: do you I'm sure like a lot of people really don't know what's going on in Cuba, like and including Cubans, not just Americans.
Yeah.
Like what do you think about when you say when you hear Cuba? Do you think like what do you think about anything that comes to your head?
I just, and I'm not going to try to say like I know everything that's going on with it. The political upheaval and the problems that they have. But one thing that comes to mind when I think about a nation like Cuba is just it's a little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of that heartache for the people that are hurting because of that system, because of the way the country's run, the families that are hurting, and at the same time, there's pride, right, in thinking that those are my fellow human beings, those are my brothers and sisters down there too, who fight every day to be the best they can be, who fight for their lives in some cases, but in other cases, they overcome those challenges that they have, just like I overcame some of the challenges that I have, and it's just it's a mix of emotions when I think about a place like Cuba, and it's always really cool to see those athletes at like the Pan American Games. For example, like they don't necessarily have a goalball team, but track and field athletes and other athletes like that. You see them come through, and it's a really cool thing.
Right on. Appreciate it, brother. So let's go through some gallery photos here because, like, first is your, I guess this picture, of your quote that we talked about. That's from your inspirational. That's from your motivational speaking, right?
Yeah. That's one of the taglines that I like to use.
I love it. I think it looks great, honestly. Then we have a great picture that some people are going to go crazy, but this is an awesome honor. You got to meet the president.
Barack Obama, yeah, that was after the 2008 games. No, I'm sorry, this was 2016. So this was after the 2016 games from Rio. Got to go to the White House, shook hands with Barack Obama, got a hug from Michelle Obama, shook Joe Biden's hand. He was vice president at the time. So that
you think he's going to remember you when you go back in 2021?
I don't think so, but I do have a fun story to tell about Joe Biden. So we went through, and they were so gracious. Every athlete got to say hi to them, shake their hand, interacted with them, and it was a couple hundred athletes coming through. So it was really, really cool. So the line, kind of moves and then would stop and then move. So I ended up, kind of standing and chatting with Joe Biden for just an extra second or two. It was very cool. So I was shaking his hand and I was like, "Hey man, I super appreciate you guys taking the time for us, and I know there's a lot of athletes coming through, but it really means a lot to us." And he's shaking my hand. He cussed. He goes, "Oh, damn boy, we are just so proud of you. This is our honor." Like it was just I was like, Joe Biden just cussed at me. It was awesome. So yeah, dude, it was a really cool experience, and there's no way he'll remember me, but it was still really cool.
So and then I'll share your USA page again. It shows you got a bronze, I think, and in World Championships. Then you got silver in Rio. So Tokyo is the gold.
That's it. That's it, man. So 2004 Paralympics in Athens, had a bronze medal there. 2016 Paralympics in Rio, silver. So yeah, I got one more to collect. I got my eyes on that gold medal. See what we can do, but that is the plan, my friend.
One time I heard you talk about what it felt to be on the stand when you were wearing that medal and hearing the national anthem, and it kind of got to me a little bit. Can you kind of share with people kind of what that meant for you when you were in the stand receiving your silver medal in Rio after so many years of chasing that that moment?
It's hard to wrap your mind around something like that. So you're standing there on the podium, and you're in a stadium full of people, and it's just electric, right? There's cameras flashing, and there's delegates there from the country that is hosting the games, and they're walking by, and individually they, you lean forward and they hang the medal around your neck and shake your hand and give you flowers, and it's just your body is exhausted from the competition and the training. Your mind is exhausted from just the endless hours of work and prep, the years leading up to it. And it's like being underwater for a really long time and finally coming up and getting that first gulp of air. Like, you can stand there and think, I made it to this point, and I worked hard to get here, and I can just stop for a moment and kind of soak this in and just live in the moment. And it's just a really cool experience. It's a very finite thing in the grand scheme of life. Like, there's so many beautiful things and challenging things in life, but I think for that one moment I could just stop and say, that I had done well to reach that spot.
Yep. I just shared that just for anybody who wants to come in and say their wishes to Tyler. I just shared the link. You just click the last post I put there. First is the post for his YouTube channel, so you go subscribe. And then the last link I shared on the chat was his, the link for this live, in case you want to come in and say hi on camera. I know a lot of people are kind of scared, a little sketched with the camera, but believe me, you're not going to look any. I'm the worst looking one here, so don't worry about it. So, Tyler, then you played nationally, you played internationally. You've done the sport for since you're what, 12?
Yeah, right? 13-ish. Yeah, somewhere in that time frame.
So, like, what is it like to what do you tell somebody, a kid or somebody in high school or somebody, a young person or somebody who's never, who's facing an obstacle or a challenge? What do you tell them about, how do you to find a passion like yours?
I think the first thing to recognize, right, when you're faced with a challenge, and name it, whatever it might be. Maybe it's a physical challenge like a visual impairment. Maybe it's a family challenge, like problems with, relationships with your parents, or, whatever that challenge might be. The first thing is, it's okay to step back and recognize the gravity of that challenge. It's okay to say, man, this is not cool. It's okay to say this kind of sucks, right? That is an okay thing to do. Recognize it, be real with it. It's not a cool situation. That's why they call it a challenge, right? But what you have to do with that is from there, you have to take it a step further and say, okay, I got this challenge. Like, it's real. I've named it. It's heavy, but you can't allow the challenge that you have to decide what your life is going to be. You can't let that challenge be in the driver's seat. You have to take control of your situation. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. A lot of that's way easier said than done. So I understand that piece, right? There's going to be work involved. There's going to be sacrifice, but you have to make those decisions. You have to look beyond the fear that you feel from that challenge and make decisions for yourself. What do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Who is it you are trying to become? And that's the aim that you should have. You should have your eyes on that. And from that, you take one more step forward and you build the habits around developing yourself to accomplish those goals. So when I give my motivational speech, which is, seeing the champion within yourself, there's actually 5 key points that I walk people through in order to really find that, to overcome those challenges. And it has a lot to do with taking ownership of that situation. Again, recognize it. It's cool. It's not something you just brush under the rug. You have a challenge, but you can't let it decide for you. You have to take control of the situation.
Awesome. And I second that all the time. Try things, guy. Everybody needs to just get outside their comfort zone. I mean, here you have a blind guy doing YouTube or without knowing with being very rough with technology
There you go.
and messing everything up. So,
That's it. Doing a
you
great
know,
job, man.
just
Super good.
just try yourself. Challenge yourself to something. Don't be afraid of things that you think are hard. Go for them. If they don't work out, they don't work out. But at least you tried, and you can go to sleep happy. That you tried and you
Absolutely.
made an effort.
Absolutely. Well, and I think so many people like, oh man, what if I fail? What if I feel like a failure? Like 99% of the time, nobody is like looking for you to fail. Like people want to see you succeed. They want it. Your friends, your family, the people around them, they want to see you succeed. And if you fall down and fail, I was another one of my sayings, falling is not failure. Failure is falling and not getting back up. Right? You're gonna fall sometimes. You're gonna fall short. Things are gonna get messed up sometimes. That doesn't make you a failure. As long as you get up, dust yourself off, learn from it, and go forward. That is the key concept.
So, and then for many years, me following you guys, I'm like, just to give people a little taste of what the sport kind of looks like for those that don't have no idea what we're talking about with goalball. I'm going to share a little bit, 10 seconds, hopefully that not get copyrighted, of a game against Lithuania, or at least the highlights of the Lithuania USA match. And I know they were hard to beat for a while. I remember you and other guys going over there internationally and having a fit to try to chase Lithuania around, because they were, them in after Beijing, it was China and Lithuania kind of dominating the stand. And you tell me if I'm wrong. No, so I'm going to share a little bit of those clips so people kind of get like a view of kind of like what the sport looks like. And then you tell me how hard is the sport, how hard you throw a goal ball. People don't really realize how fast and how competitive the sport is. So that's why I want to show it.
Go for it.
All right, let's show it, and don't hesitate to make any comments as you feel like. Feel like. Let me open speed and let's put this highlights of this Lithuania USA match. I really don't know what's going to happen, but I know that it's going to be great. So here you go. Let me share audio, and I think that's enough there. So let's go over here. Okay, so here we go. And we see you there, Tyler.
Oh,
there's
man.
a goal.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, or is that completely out?
No, I do. It kind of bleeds together after a while, after so many years, right? But oh my gosh, so when you think about this, you're seeing this, and it's hard to get a feel for it without being right there courtside and hearing the speed of the ball. But these are athletes, man. These are real athletes out there. They're throwing this 3-pound ball 40 miles an hour plus. You've got 0.6, 0.7 seconds to decide where the ball is going and put your body in front of it. Then you got to take the impact of the ball, and then you got to figure out where the ball went to. If it didn't stick to you, it rolls away from you. You got to collect it. You got to decide, are you going to toss it to a teammate? Are you going to back up and throw it? You've only got 10 seconds to figure out what you're going to do to maneuver on the floor and throw it back. And you're doing this for 24 minutes in a game. And we wear heart rate monitors when we train and compete. And one of the things that our strength and conditioning coach is really surprised about with the sport of goalball is when we play, we're up in the 80s and 90% of our maximum heart rate pretty much the entire game. Like it is not an easy sport. A lot of leg, a lot of core strength, a lot of speed and stability. It is a fast pace. It's a rough game, and we're not nice to each other. We try to bludgeon each other with that ball, So at this level, crazy competitive.
In this game that we're seeing, I mean, it's probably really old. It's probably from back, I don't know, 2012, 2010, that time maybe, before Rio. But we see a rally where you guys, it's a lot of like tennis. Sometimes teams going a rally. In this game, you guys came back, and then it got super high scoring. So like, do you compare it to maybe tennis, maybe volleyball? I guess the best way I describe it is blind volleyball, really, but throwing instead of swinging at the ball.
Yeah. It's very similar concept, right, to volleyball like that. The points system, like the amount of points that you see. I guess I typically compare it to like baseball, where you see scores of like 8 to 10 or something like that. Could be higher, could be lower, depending on the teams and what happens. But yeah, man, it's teams will run away. It's a 10-goal mercy rule. You don't see that a lot internationally, obviously, because the teams are pretty effective. But there's a 10-goal mercy rule, and sometimes you see teams really run away with it. In Rio, funny enough, in the 2016 games when we made the semifinal match, our semifinal match was against Brazil, and they were heavily favored to win the tournament. They scored more goals and allowed fewer than any other team in the tournament up to that point, and we really upset them pretty hardcore. We beat them by a score of 10-1.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was like biggest upset of the tournament. Not many people were expecting us to win that game, and we won it very handily. They ended up imploding, throwing a lot of penalties. I scored 9 of our 10 goals, and 8 of them were on penalty shots, I think it was. So it was a really big upset. And then we go into the final match against Lithuania, and I hate to say this, but we kind of got our butts handed to us. I think the final score was like 13-8 or 9 or something like that.
That's the one we were watching. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the good one when you beat Brazil 10-1.
Right.
I couldn't find the one where
they hit it. The Brazilians took it off YouTube. They didn't like that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But so and that's how it goes. And a lot of times Lithuania has our number, but we've beaten them a handful of times in the past as well. So, it is an extremely competitive
game. Knowing
that
they're like one of the toughest teams out there, and they most likely you guys are going to meet them again at some point, like from maybe even here in Tokyo. Like, do you guys do anything differently, strategically wise? Obviously, you're not going to tell me, but like, do you guys have a different visualization of the game? Like, how do you all prepare for that? Like, and knowing that's what's coming.
So there's been a lot of preparation over the last 2 years leading into Tokyo, right? So a lot of physical preparation. So a lot of our guys are working out super hard. So myself, for example, I'm going to humble brag just a little bit because I am kind of proud of this. So a year and a half ago, our nutritionist, she does regular body comp measurements, right? So a year and a half ago, I weighed 190 pounds and I was about 8% body fat or something along those lines.
We're going to share the Team USA page now.
There you go. All right, cool. I don't know if that's on there. I don't want to. But I just got measured recently, and now I'm a little over 200 pounds and about 5% body fat. So over the last year and a half, I've been able to put on 8-9 pounds of muscle and maybe just a little bit of body fat. And so we are training like crazy, getting ready for those games. Now, some other things that we've done is adjusted our system, the way we're playing defense, the way that we're playing offense. So yeah, we're not the type to say we just keep kind of hitting our head against the wall. We're trying new things. We're trying to do things better and more efficiently, more professionally as we go.
Let me spice this up because this is YouTube. Any rivalries, anything, any grudges, the sport is pretty tough. It's pretty violent. I would say, nationally, we all get along actually surprisingly good for how many times we tried to go at each other.
Right.
So internationally, do you guys hold that, do you guys have any, internal feelings that people don't really know about? Any special rivalries between a country that we should be looking out for?
It's interesting because I think, like you said, off the court, we interact with these athletes. I won't say like all the time or whatever, when, especially in the middle of the tournament, like we're kind of staying with ourselves and we're focused on ourselves. But after the tournament, we've hung out with a lot of these teams and they're cool. Like we're all good. We have a great time with them. On the court, I'm sure that Brazil is still sore at us for what happened in 2016. So I'm sure that they're coming in with
especially since it was in Brazil.
absolutely. They're coming in with blood on their mind, I'm sure. Lithuania is always a solid team. Turkey and China, Japan, they're all interested in making sure that everybody knows that their world power is coming in. So yeah, it's any man's tournament, and really that's the way it should be. It's the top 10 teams in the world. Everyone had to qualify to be there, and that system's not perfect. Somebody could probably argue the quality of teams based on the system, but it's the top 10 teams that have qualified, and it's going to be a fight for sure.
And yeah, so people apparently really like that. Number spiked when we talked about rivalries and things like that. So keeping on that, and any special players that you personally want to try to beat on the scoreboard. You're one of the top scorers in the U.S., so I'm sure that internationally you're the same. So any personal little banderas you want to achieve? Anybody you want to make sure you're ahead of defensively and offensively?
I mean,
that kind of stuff.
The inner warrior in me says, heck yeah, you name them, I want to beat them, right? Like, there's some big names out there. Silva from Brazil is one of the top players in the world. Katakaya from Turkey, one of the top players in the world. Panovis from Lithuania. Of course, I want to go out and I want to show these athletes that I'm competitive, that I'm still here, and that I've been here for a long time. I'm gonna be a thorn in their side. The teammate in me says, I don't care. I don't care if I'm a top scorer. I don't care if I score all of our goals, none of our goals. What I care about is us as a team taking that medal stand, and not only taking the medal stand, but the gold medal, right? We have a lot of guys who are working really hard. We have some guys that have a little more offensive punch than I do, and I'm happy to put the ball in their hand to give them that opportunity as I've had in the past. Because I've been that guy. I've been that guy where the score is tied. There's 17 seconds left. The other team is just throwing a penalty, and this is it, right? This is my shot to win the game. Which, by the way, was the how we won the bronze medal in Athens. Is like almost like movie script style type stuff, and the ball was in my hands. I was given that opportunity. I was the 4th highest score in the world in the 2014. Was it 2010 or 2014? 2010, I think. It was the 4th highest scorer in the world in the 2010 World Championships. So I've been given those opportunities. Right now, my mission is to make sure that my guys, some of the younger guys coming onto the team, have those same opportunities, and that we go and win gold. That's all that matters to me right now.
Well, Tyler, like people are a little skittish. Some of the people with the English are a little skittish getting in here, and then some of our guys are a little scared of the camera. But I wanna ask you, like, one of the few things I want to ask you is nationally, where do you see the sport, and do you see us growing? Do you see us being able to make the sport a little more not visible, but more attractive to audience, more attractive to maybe the general public? The sport, anybody can play it, really. Even though there's some rules for that, and there's some controversy between us blind world and in how we want to do that. But what do you see the sport, and after you're done, like, do you, or even the last years?
I think the sport's going to grow. Here there's a couple reasons. The first is that I think there's just a lot of passion behind the sport of goalball, and it's very difficult to make goalball controversial. And what I mean by that is there are challenges in other Paralympic sports about, like, okay, how disabled are you really? Like, I remember talking with some of our athletes from the CP soccer group. Awesome group of guys. I remember having a really candid conversation with them about how, like, their sport is a little challenging because, like, if you're not disabled enough, you can't be in it. But then they get some guys in there that don't seem really that disabled. And, like, there's kind of this gray area, right? Goalball, you throw on a blindfold, let's get out there and play. You don't use any vision, period. And there's not a lot of controversy on that. Having said that, I'm a big fan, a big proponent of letting sighted athletes play the sport, right? Because I think that in order for the sport to be appreciated the way I appreciate it, the way you appreciate it, it has to be more viscerally understood. People don't know what goalball is like. They don't understand it. I've never brought anybody to a tournament, whether to watch or to volunteer or to play or whatever, who didn't fall in love with the sport of goalball. They really do. Like, it's an awesome sport. People latch onto it like, man, this is the coolest thing. How come I've never heard of this? Well, it's because it's so unique to itself. Most people, so, you know, in the Paralympics, I think there's like 18 or 20 sports officially in the Paralympics. I think it's like 28 if you combine winter and summer. But let's take wheelchair basketball, for example. Most people know what basketball is. Basketball's super popular, and most people know what a wheelchair is. So when you say wheelchair basketball, boom, right away they get this idea. They can kind of picture that in your head. If you say goalball, they're like, no clue, no visceral understanding. So I think that goalball will grow. I think it'll become more popular, but it's not going to be appreciated the way it should until sighted athletes can pick up a blindfold and join any team and play. You know, in the U.S., we allow it.
A month ago, I'm like, and there was, promotions for bowling tournaments and for dodgeball. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, the day goalball decides to open it up to anybody who wants to come try it and do a weekend in Vegas of goalball. Goalball is going to be national recognized sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love it. You know, and I think the fear that some blind athletes have is like, okay, I'm blind, so it's more difficult for me to train and to learn body mechanics and things like that than it is for a sighted athlete that are going to come in and take over our sport.
We have somebody here from the chat who wants to probably say hi. Politics in Spanish, politics in Español. How you doing, Hugo from Politics in Español? Thank you for joining us, brother.
I'm good. How are you doing, guys? It's nice to meet you, Tyler.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, I'm actually impressed because it's the first time I'm hearing about this sport. So, and you are just saying that when you say goalball, nobody have a clue of what you're talking about. And while you were talking, I was searching on internet what it was goalball, and I see that it's a very appealing sport actually that I never heard of. I'm just seeing the images now, so it's incredible. Nice.
Exactly. That's what we talk about. Like, and really anybody can play, and that's what we're saying. Like, as long as everybody has a blindfold, it's anybody can play. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. So I was seeing that. Like, so I was not sorry. I just turned into your channel, Jose. So maybe you already did this question, but how many years this sport has been on the Paralympics?
Yeah, that's a great question. So. The sport itself has been around for 75 years, and it's been part of the Paralympics since I think it was the 84 games, 80 or 84. I think it might have been 84 Toronto when goalball was first introduced to the Paralympics. I might have to double check that. But so, at least the last 40 years, it's been part of the Paralympic Games. And that's what you said, like, and that's what we're kind of talking about. Where you're like, I've never heard of this sport, and I'm not surprised. It's not super well known, but once you get into goalball, it gets into your blood. Like it's a fantastic sport and so much fun.
So, what about the age range? What is the age range to play goalball in the Paralympics, for example?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really just kind of depends. A lot of times the age range you'll see for the Paralympics is going to be early to mid 20s into early 30s. Sometimes a little bit older than that. We've seen a few athletes last into their late 30s and early 40s. But you're seeing a little bit more younger and younger because the sport is becoming faster and more athletic. It's still a skill-based game as much as it's athletic, though. So you see a lot of the late 20s, early 30s as kind of the prime years for athletes in this sport.
And what is the speed of the ball, Tyler? The average speed of a Paralympic throw?
I would say about 40 miles an hour. So it's fast. It's very fast, and it's not always just the speed. So the thing a lot like tennis, right? Where it's not just how fast you hit the ball, it's also the spin of the ball, it's the angle that you hit, it's the skip and turn. So in goalball, it's the same thing. You can throw it as hard as you want, but if you're just throwing it right into the belly of a player, it doesn't really matter. It's the angle that you throw, the steps, stepping one way and throwing back the other, spinning the ball, putting top spin, skipping the ball. That's the kind of thing that makes it so challenging, along with that tremendous speed that a lot of these athletes can produce.
Well, that was a question that I was trying to also thinking of. If what are the techniques when you try to throw the ball?
Yeah.
Like, for example, because I like to play pool.
Yeah.
So you know that in pool you do a lot of ball spinning.
Yeah.
They call it English, and there is different techniques.
Yep.
So I can imagine that when you are trying to throw the ball, you will do it in a way that, of course, the ball is gonna not only go forward, also it's gonna move sideways.
Exactly.
Trying to avoiding the guy that is gonna try to stop it.
Exactly. Or even like as you're throwing it, flicking your wrist so that it tumbles forward, so that as it hits a player, it'll tend to kind of roll up over them and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of small detail that goes into it that's so important for that elite level competition.
And I'm putting a picture of you throwing, starting to get set to throw a throw, Tyler. You're holding the ball up to your face, and then what happens is you take 3 steps, and those 3 steps you're doing a spin move to get a lot of torque into that throw, and then whatever you do with your hands is for the movement on the ball, like a baseball.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So a lot of the English on the ball, as you put it, comes from how you turn your wrist as you throw and things like that. So it's a lot of fun, man. It's very intense, and just takes a lot of practice, a lot of concentration, but it's just so much fun.
Wow, nice. So Tyler, when you throw the ball, you can hit any of the other 3. How do you say the
opponents?
net?
The 3, the other team.
Yes,
Yeah.
the other team, they have three nets.
Yep.
Like it's
No,
not
it's one long net.
One net.
One long
Yeah.
net.
It's one, but you have 3 people defending, as I see in the video. So, okay, so you can just throw and try to get into the net everywhere. It doesn't have to be. Okay, nice.
Yeah, exactly.
So you say you won a gold medal before?
So I have not won a Paralympic gold medal. In the Paralympics, I've won a bronze and a silver medal.
Nice.
In the World Championships, I've only won a bronze medal. I've 2 of them, actually. I've won 2 bronze medals in the World Championships. But then like international tournaments, domestic tournaments, I've won quite a few. I think I have like 17 gold medals or something like that in like a combination of international and domestic tournaments in the US.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Thank you. My kids love it. I have them all in a box in my basement, and my kids dig them out sometimes and wear them around. So it's pretty fun. They really enjoy it.
So Politics in Español, like one of the things between we always talk about Cuba and helping people there, empower them and stuff. And Tyler has a career outside the sport where the sport probably helps with his background, but he was able, he has a college degree in training, in physical training. He's talked in the show, but now he has this this website, Revision Training, which I have the links above in the chat, and also a YouTube channel. And I think like that's another thing that people are not able to do. Like a lot of people are not able to just, let's say, a Paralympian in Cuba. It's hard for them to do their own business after the sport or while they're doing the sport because it's limited or sometimes it's not allowed. It depends. So what do you think about that? And do you have any questions in that sense?
About well, I need to see the website, but so what you're saying is that he's actually trying to teach the sport in YouTube or something like that?
No, he does training, like physical training, like
physical
the training he does
okay,
as
nice,
an Paralympian, was an Olympian,
Well, that's great. Everybody these days that's something that everybody wants to do. to be physical, to be in shape physically. So yes, that's great that you do that. But I mean, I would say, how much time of the year you dedicate to the actual sport, and how much time you dedicate to the training?
So it kind of depends on what part of the season we are in, right? So athletes should go through, and this is the way that we do it, at least in the US, and I think this is pretty common around the world. So you go through phases, right? So when you are not in season, when it's not your time to compete, that's when you focus a lot more on strength training. You're lifting weights and trying to build up strength. And then after that, you go into like a preseason training, where you are starting to work more on your skill set and you're developing more endurance and power. And then you go into a in-season training. That's when you're really you're doing a lot of maintenance work. You're not lifting a lot of weights. You're maybe once or twice a week lifting weights, and all the other training hours are dedicated to your sport. You're on the court. You're working on your technique, your throw, your block, your scrimmaging. And then the fourth phase is usually it's a post season. So what do you do after you're done with your competition to kind of allow your body time to recover and repair, get away from the sport for a little bit, for the sake of your mind and your body, right? So it kind of depends on the time of the year. So right now we're a little bit in a preseason training phase. So we're lifting weights twice a week. We have we're lifting weights once a week. We have conditioning twice a week, and we have practice twice a week. So we're training 5 days a week and just varying in those modalities.
So you are basically saying that when you are not in the game, you are actually training for the game, but at the same time teaching people on the physical training. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's great. So you are basically how do you say in English, killing two birds with one stone, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're physically
absolutely.
getting in shape, teaching other people, and that's
exactly.
great. That's great.
And I gotta win both ways that way. Yeah.
Apologies in Spanish. I don't know if you can watch this, but Tyler got to meet Mr. Barack and Mr. Biden. So
wow, great.
So maybe when we need to do some lobbying.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, this is amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Is there anything that you want to tell our community here on YouTube? And then I want to leave with, first that, and then I want to ask you about being a 4-time Paralympian, which rarely does somebody get to go to 4 Olympics. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to, talk to you guys out there checking this out. There's probably a lot of you that are in very different positions, right? There might be a couple of you out there watching this, like you've never thought about fitness. You are, you have some kind of challenge going on. You think it's a barrier. It's not a barrier, right? It's a challenge. Absolutely. It's going to be difficult to overcome, but I'm encouraging you today to take ownership of that, right? You don't have to be stuck where you are. You can be better. And for those of you watching this who are pretty good athletes, maybe you want to be a better athlete. It's the same process. Take ownership of your situation. Learn what you need to learn. Ask the questions. Reach out to me. Check out my fitness programs. And I super appreciate Jose sharing that. My YouTube channel, I have a Facebook group as well. The online fitness platform is kind of in the beta stages. So the website is actually down right at this moment. I feel really bad about that, but you guys hold on to that link because it should be up in the next couple of days. We're getting it back up. There's some really cool information on there. If you are visually impaired and you really want to learn about fitness and you've never really had anybody teach you, you can check out my fitness platform. There's tons of lessons on there, all audio described, designed for people who are visually impaired to learn exercise and fitness. So I really would love for that to be a good resource for you. I do this because I've been given so many great opportunities, and I want you to have the same.
Well, yes, I'm seeing the channel. Your YouTube channel now is full of great lessons
Yeah,
for.
I
Wow,
want you.
that's crazy. That's
Uh,
great. That's
You
just
should
great.
see it. I think you'll be impressed. Politics Español. Anybody in the chat I know will enjoy them. I think, and like I said, they're for people who are beginning, and there's also for people that I think if you're on a high level. I don't know. I consider myself at least normal, average on exercise wise, and I did those. I mean, those routines take everything out of me. Um, I mean, I think if Tyler does them, anybody can benefit from them. So,
for sure.
Well, you know that I'm a programmer. I'm Jose uses also into computers a lot. So we spend a lot of time sitting in a chair in front of a computer, the same way you see
Yeah,
now.
yeah, man.
So I actually we need a lot of exercise to like kind of counter the problems that you physically create yourself by
Absolutely.
being
Yeah,
sitting here. So it is great to have something like this. Yes,
check it out,
so
man.
I subscribe right away.
Dude,
everybody
awesome.
subscribe. Please go
Yeah, man.
subscribe. The
Well,
YouTube channel is right there above. It's Revision Training. So please go subscribe.
and
I think
so
the
much of
opportunity.
that is going to be, you don't need a lot of equipment, you don't need a lot of experience. I walk you through it, try some of the videos, and all of those are just meant to kind of get you started and give you good opportunities, and so you can kind of learn and grow from there. So definitely check it out. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, Dave Paris, high fives. We got Diotis also giving salutes. Really really cool people here. Also sharing your work, Tyler. One of the last things I want to say, like again, I want to leave that question. Like going to 4 Olympics, what does that feel like?
Makes me feel old sometimes. It's a, like I said, man, I'm just so blessed to be able to do that, and to me, I don't necessarily focus heavily on the end game, and I don't mean that in like a negative or a bad way, but when I first was introduced to goalball, I didn't think I was going to go to 4 Paralympics, right? I didn't have that on my radar. I lived in the moment. I enjoyed it. I looked forward to the next tournament. I looked forward to making myself a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger. I looked forward to enjoying time with my teammates and traveling to different places. And that's the way I try to look at life. Like I try to have that long-term plan. I like to know where I'm going to be in the next 5 or 10 years, but you have to live in the moment too, right? You have to take every day and count those blessings. You have to challenge yourself every day. You think about one drop of water doesn't really do much. It's not going to quench your thirst. It's not going to grow a plant. But 2 drops of water, 3 drops of water, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, 100,000. That's when you start building up the potential of water, right? You can destroy life with water. You can build life with water. And so I think that your day-to-day activities, your everyday movements and actions are like drops of water, right? So every day you should think about adding another drop to your bucket and moving forward, growing a little by little, and eventually you'll have a tidal wave that you can claim as your own. And that's the way I try to approach it, man. Just one step at a time. Seek greatness within yourself, and that's the way you progress forward.
That is awesome. And then just for the show, because people don't know, I play goalball too, and I've had the opportunity to play with Tyler at the Florida club team. What do you think of me as a goalball player?
I love you, Jose, man. I'm just kidding. Jose is modest. He's always like, I don't know. I think I'm kind of a normal athlete. Jose's a go-getter, man. You can't stop this guy when he's got his mindset on something. So I love playing ball with you and would do it anytime, brother.
Alrighty,
Okay,
that's a good way
when are you going to invite me?
Yeah,
anytime.
They're at like right now. Let's go shade up.
Well, I need to drive a lot to get.
Yeah, that's true. You got a long way to go.
I'm in West Palm Beach, but you can invite me.
Actually, last year we would have been right there. We were training in Lake.
Oh, that's true.
Lake Worth, right?
Lakeworth,
Lakeworth, yeah, it's pretty close. Like
there's
we were training in
Lake
Lake Worth last year,
Lakeworth.
but then Tyler moved, so now we're training in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you still have opportunities. They have nets and everything there. You should get in touch with the Lake Worth Therapeutic Recreation Center. Set up some goalball practice.
We'll get hooked up, but most importantly, we're going to hook up with revision training. We're going to follow you, Tyler, on your Facebook page too, all the way to the Olympics. Hopefully, this is not the last time we talk. Hopefully, I get you here before you get that medal that you're chasing there, and know that this community is going to follow you all the way through. I'm going to later on edit this video, make it like even better and fitter. So it's honestly an honor, and thank you so much, Paul Dickens-Munoz, for joining us, brother. Thank you guys.
It was actually a pleasure to me. I never knew someone that went to the Olympics before, so it is a great pleasure, Tyler. So
appreciate you, brother.
And actually, I learned something new today. So because I didn't know, like 10 minutes ago, I didn't know that the sport exists at all. So, and it seems fun a lot.
Now you know, man. Go out there and make it happen.
Jose, if I can bring new people to the sport, I guess I'm doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. You're fighting the good fight, man. No, I appreciate it, and don't hesitate, y'all, to reach out to me if you have some questions. If you want to, book a speaking event with me, if you want me to come in and speak, I'm happy to do that. I'm not hard to find. You can find my information out there. Join my Facebook group. Sign up for the YouTube channel. Just not for my sake, but for yours, right? So I'm just in it to make sure that you guys get the resources you need. So I appreciate you having me on, Jose.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll end it there, everybody. Check out Tyler's YouTube page. Anybody on Facebook, come over here and subscribe. Let's get connected. Let's build community, and let's play. Let's follow some goal ball. So see you next time.
Picture that with a Kodak, or better yet, go to Times Square, take a picture of me with a Kodak. Took my life from negative to positive, I just want y'all to know that. And tonight, let's enjoy life. Pitbull, Naya, Neo, that's right.